Hey, heard the news? You're no longer needed. Hate to break it to you, but this high rise and your husband, they're mine now. As a token of gratitude, I'll rent you a room at double the price. Even as I heard these vile words from my so called friend, Violet, my heart remained calm. Understood. Let's proceed with the divorce. I'll call the lawyer immediately. I said it in a purely businesslike manner. Perhaps it was the way I spoke, but Violet started to laugh again. Oh dear, is our gardening volunteer obsessed with games, struggling financially? While Violet laughed, her sidekick, my husband Cody, was fretting over the alimony. Cody's reluctance to pay was clearly irritating Violet. Hey, what's with the hesitation? Just pay up and it's over. Cody, you're the owner of this high rise, aren't you? Then you shouldn't have any problem paying such an amount. At Violet's words, Cody wore a guilty expression. At the same moment, the lawyer burst into laughter. Violet, are you serious? This high rise belongs entirely to Nicola. Hearing this, Violet's face showed she didn't grasp the meaning of those words for a moment. Was it foolish of me to feel flattered that the popular Violet showed interest in a plain and introverted person like me? But maybe I was the fool to trust them. Cody and Violet are indeed very much alike. Their contempt for me mirrors that of the devil. You two don't deserve the penthouse of this high-rise. Sink deeper, right down to the very bottom of the earth. I will never forgive you. My name is Nicola, a 28-year-old housewife. I live in a high-rise with my husband Cody, whom I married 2 years ago. Twice a week, I teach at a gardening class, and the rest of the time, I'm mostly at home, in front of the computer. I've always been introverted since my school days, with a great love for games, comics, and animation. My marriage to Cody was nothing short of a fluke. 2 years ago, I had to visit a bar in a bustling district for work. It was a popular place, well situated with a storefront location. And there, working as a bartender, was Cody. Entering the bar for the first time, I was extremely nervous, but Cody's lighthearted banter allowed me to relax. He was a popular bartender in the place, charming and bright. I'm not usually a big drinker, but I might have had a bit too much, riding on Cody's lively chat. Because of that, I found myself sharing various things with him. My favorite anime, my preferred foods, even about my family's business back home. Under normal circumstances, Cody and I would never have crossed paths, but perhaps intrigued by my uniqueness, he took an interest in me. Following that, we went on a few dates. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were living together and had registered our marriage. Around that time, Cody transitioned from being a bartender to owning the bar. The previous owner was looking to step down, and Cody stepped up, taking over the business. Due to Cody's busy schedule, we never had a formal wedding, but that didn't bother me at all. I was happy just to be living together. 2 years into our marriage, that was our life. Cody's work often kept him out until late, so he'd come home in the wee hours. As for me, I taught a gardening class twice a week in the mornings, so our routine was me coming home as Cody was just getting out of bed. We'd have lunch together, and then Cody would start preparing for work. While he was getting ready, I'd be at my computer. Watching me. Must be nice, not working much and playing games all day on the computer. Cody would often make snide remarks, but I'd always counter. I've told you before this isn't just play, this is work for me too. Whenever I said that, Cody would mockingly laugh. Sure. There are those who claim gaming is their job, but messing around with that stuff doesn't make money, so it's not really work. I knew Cody didn't mean harm, but from his perspective, someone who took great pride in his work, everything I did seemed like mere play, whether it was being on the computer or teaching gardening. Playing with soil and computers won't earn you money. You should find something more fulfilling to do with your time. He might not understand, but I felt a real sense of purpose in my work. Still, not wanting to dampen his work motivation, I chose not to say more. Since becoming a bar owner, Cody seemed a bit changed. Initially, he was more easygoing, cheerful, and humble, but lately, he's been rather condescending. Is that just the nature of being a business owner? As I pondered this, Cody finished getting ready and left the house. A few hours after Cody left, a message from a close friend popped up. Her name was Violet, my best friend since high school. Back then, I was somewhat introverted and shy, but Violet reached out to me. She was social, a friend to many, the life of the class, so to speak. According to Violet, the reason she took an interest in me was the size of my family home. My family home was incredibly large, and above all, very old. I love stuff like a test of courage, she said. Despite my reservations about calling a house that's still lived in a test of courage, I didn't mind since Violet had taken an interest in me. In fact, we did host a real test of courage at my house with some classmates one summer. Thanks to that, I, who was once introverted, managed to blend into the class. Even after graduating high school, we kept in touch, and I even shared my wedding news with her. Violet was genuinely happy for me, as if it were her own joy. Her message read, "Got bored of my hometown, so I'm moving to your place. Count on me." After college, Violet had married a young local councilman and was living an enviable, affluent life. But through our exchanges, I learned that due to some circumstances, she was getting divorced, childless. That's what prompted her to leave her hometown. With Cody's permission, I invited Violet over the day she arrived in our city. I wanted to introduce her to Cody. Since she hadn't settled on a place to live yet, my plan was to go house hunting with real estate agents after her visit. Nicola, don't worry. Even if the house is small or your husband is unattractive, I promise I won't laugh. The message she sent just before moving was ambiguous. Kind or rude, I couldn't tell. Yet somewhere inside, I chuckled, knowing it was so like Violet, but with a wry smile. Wow, high-rise apartments really do have great views. I'm jealous. Plus, you own this whole building, right? That's amazing! Violet was thrilled upon seeing our high-rise apartment. Though not on the top floor, our apartment was high enough to offer a great view. And I too loved the scenery it presented. Hey, what does your husband do? Violet asked, looking out at the view. He runs a bar. My reply seemed to excite her even more. Wow, a business owner. That's impressive. And what about you, Nicola? What are you up to these days? Next, she turned her attention to me. I teach at a gardening class twice a week. My response, for some reason, made Violet turn back with a gleeful look. Wow, that's not just volunteer work. Gardening is something anyone can do, right? Well, I guess it can't be helped if Nicola has no other talents. Violet's laughter, mixed with her words, stirred complex feelings within me. But then Cody emerged from the bedroom, shifting my focus. That's right. Nicola doesn't do much but play games on the computer all day, Cody said, settling into the sofa. Seeing this, Violet quickly moved and sat near him. Cody, nice to meet you. Wow, you're much more handsome than I thought. I can't believe Nicola landed such a good-looking husband. Right? Nicola has always been into games and anime since high school. I was surprised to see nothing's changed. Violet's tone noticeably lifted in Cody's presence, a pattern I recognized from high school when she encountered a man she liked. I was surprised too, to find out Nicola had such a cute friend. I thought some geeky girl was coming over, but here you are. Cody's words seemed to delight Violet. It appeared Cody wasn't displeased either. It might just be my imagination, but Violet and Cody seem eerily alike. Their conversation appears lighthearted, but there's an undercurrent of malice in their words. The ones dishing it out may not realize, but the recipient is acutely aware. In this case, the target of their malice seems to be me. Completely disregarding my presence, Violet and Cody are getting along famously. Unable to open my computer with guests around, I'm just wasting time, doing nothing. Eventually, their talk shifted to Cody's bar. Cody, you run a bar, right? That's amazing. I'm interested in business too, so I really admire you. Violet's praise seemed to put Cody in a good mood. I'm about to open up the bar. Why don't you come along? Consider it a housewarming gift. Before I knew it, the plan had shifted to Violet visiting Cody's bar. We were supposed to go house hunting with real estate agents after her visit. But Violet, seemingly forgetting our plan, eagerly accepted Cody's invitation. Really? I'd love to! I couldn't let Violet, who had just arrived in town, go to a bar at night alone. I was about to join them when Cody stopped me. You don't need to come. You've got your teaching gig early tomorrow, right? Don't worry, I'll take good care of Violet. Saying that, leaving Violet's suitcase in the living room, Cody left with her. As they were leaving, Violet seemed to give me a spiteful look. Am I reading too much into it? Is it just paranoia? From my experience, bad feelings often turn out to be right. In the end, Cody and Violet didn't return until the morning. After my gardening class, I came home to find Violet asleep on the living room sofa. Cody, emerging from the bedroom, said Violet had drunk a lot. Apparently, she got so drunk that she fell asleep in the bar, and they ended up staying there. She had a lot to share, you know. She's been through a lot, marrying young and all. Quite the contrast to you, just playing games all day. Cody dropped this snide remark and left for the bar again. In the evening, when Violet woke up, I asked about her housing situation. "Oh, don't worry, I found a place. I'll be moving there today," she said. I was puzzled about when she had the time to find a place, but true to her word, Violet left with her suitcase that day. For a few days, I sent messages to Violet out of concern, but her replies were all cold. Then, browsing through Violet's social media, I saw photos of her visiting Cody's bar. Apparently, she'd been going to the bar alone frequently. One day, "Violet's going to work at our bar. She helped out with the dishes during a busy weekend, and it was a big help. I've decided to have her assist at the bar," Cody told me. I hadn't been to Cody's bar since the day I met him. Cody didn't want me there, preferring not to have anyone from his private life in his personal space. Yet Violet was allowed, not just to visit, but even to work at Cody's bar. A sense of unease began to bubble up inside me. Lately, Cody and Violet have been getting uncomfortably close. Even if they hit it off, it's strange for Violet to be so close to her friend's husband. Ever since Violet started working at Cody's bar, a month has passed. Cody seems to be leaving for work earlier than usual. "The bar's getting busy again. Lots to prepare," he'd say. I offered, "If you're that busy, maybe I could help." But Cody flat out refused. "No way. You can't come. The neighborhood's gotten dangerous lately, and I can't risk anything happening to you." His tone was evasive, but I didn't argue. Maybe he's just enjoying working with Violet too much. At that point, I found myself unable to trust either my husband or my best friend. Then, unexpectedly, Violet visited our home. Her attire had transformed into something far more luxurious than when she first left her hometown. Leaving my hometown was the right decision. There's so much excitement here. Every day is a blast. And Cody's here too. Violet sat on the living room sofa, giving me a nasty smirk. Then, with a sigh, she said, "How did someone like Nicola even get married to Cody? He owns a bar, and even this fancy high-rise. Happiness like this doesn't suit a game-obsessed introvert like you." Hearing Violet's words, I was certain of her true feelings. Violet had always been like this. Sociable, friendly, but intolerant of others having an upper hand. Maybe she resented me living in a house bigger than anyone else's in high school. That's why she associated my home with a test of courage to tarnish its image. When she married the councilman, she flaunted it to everyone. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she married for the bragging rights. Now, it seems she can't stand that I, with my entrepreneur husband and high-rise, am living a life she envies. I could feel a grudge from Violet, as if saying I shouldn't be happier than her. "Nicola, have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror? Your clothes, your face, it's all plain and terrible. Cody's embarrassed to have you at the bar. That's why he doesn't want you there." Violet said this with a loud laugh. I just silently stared at her. My silence seemed to annoy her. She stopped laughing, and with a scornful look, she blurted out, "Let me be clear, since you seem to be playing dumb. Cody and I are in a relationship. After work, he always comes back to my room. You wouldn't know since you're blissfully asleep. Oh, and my room? It's on the top floor of this high-rise. Cody arranged it for me. Being the owner sure is different." I was speechless at Violet's words. I had a hunch about the affair between Violet and Cody, but what left me dumbfounded was that they were using the top floor of our high-rise. Just as I was about to respond to Violet's smug declaration, Cody emerged from the bedroom. Cody seemed slightly surprised to see Violet in the living room, but quickly composed himself and sat beside her. "Cody, I've heard everything from Violet about your relationship." "What? Is it true that you gave Violet the top floor? Wasn't that supposed to be for us if we ever had kids?" I asked Cody as calmly as I could. Scratching his head sleepily, Cody replied in a dismissive tone, "So what? It's not being used anyway. Plus, there's no way we'd have kids. The thought of having kids with you? Don't make me sick." If that's Cody's response, then our future together is already decided. I can't stay any longer. "So you've decided to spend your life with Violet from now on? And you're okay with that, Violet?" I sought one final confirmation from them. Violet responded with a smug, "Obviously." Cody, wrapping an arm around Violet's shoulder, added, "Do we even need to confirm that? I'm going to live my life with Violet. You're not needed anymore. Cody, too, scorned me with the same disdain as Violet. Their words no longer affected me. Violet, thrilled by her victory, kept a triumphant smile. Then, she ostentatiously wrapped her arms around Cody. Hey, heard the news? You're no longer needed. Sorry, but I'll be taking this high-rise and your husband. As a token of gratitude, I'll rent you a room at double the price. Even hearing these lowest of low words from Violet, my heart remained calm. Maybe when anger reaches its peak, one becomes unnervingly calm. Understood. Let's get divorced. I'll call the lawyer immediately. I stated this in a purely businesslike manner. My response seemed to amuse Violet, who began to laugh again. Oh, our gaming-obsessed gardening volunteer is in financial trouble, huh? Planning to call a lawyer and demand compensation from us? Cody, we can afford it, right? Let's give Nicola some money. She needs to live too. Cody agreed with a simple, yeah. And saying that, he embraced Violet. The two were completely lost in their world. Watching them was so repulsive, I had to leave. While they were at the bar, I packed my things and left. Cody married me because I drunkenly talked about my family's wealth, didn't he? Because he learned I was from a well-to-do landowning family in my hometown? Violet's the same, always wanting to be superior to others. You saw taming the landowner's daughter as a way to elevate your status, didn't you? Yet I was happy that someone showed interest in plain, introverted me. Was I a fool to trust you? Indeed, you two are very much alike. The way you look down on me is just like that of the devil. Neither of you suits the top floor of this high-rise. Please, fall further down, right to the very bottom of the earth. I will never forgive you. After leaving that high-rise, I quickly found a new place to live. I moved my large belongings while they were at the bar. Violet's social media was full of posts about her dates with Cody and scenes from the bar, though she didn't show her face. The hashtags included things like, he's a business owner, and living in a high-rise. She's a woman with an insatiable need for validation, I thought to myself. I got referred to a lawyer by someone I knew. This lawyer was reputed for handling cases related to infidelity and real estate, so I didn't hesitate to ask for his help. Nicola, you've been through a lot. You don't have to fight alone anymore. Let's work on this together. The lawyer was a man with a gentle demeanor, providing a sense of comfort. He proceeded with the compensation claim very promptly. Cody and Violet seemed to have made comments agreeing to the compensation payment, so I expected them to comply soon. However, that wasn't the case. A week after sending the certified mail for the compensation claim, there was no response. Even after 3 more weeks, nothing from them. I had somehow anticipated this. Is Cody's bar really that profitable? I didn't know how much money Cody's bar was making. We had discussed financial management when we got married. However, Cody never talked about the bar's earnings and only gave me the bare minimum for living expenses. Sometimes he even hesitated to provide that. During such times, I would use my savings to cover our living expenses. With Violet, too, the flow of money was completely opaque. Their initial easy agreement to pay the compensation had felt off to me. After waiting a month with no response from them, the lawyer arranged for a 4-way meeting under his coordination. To ensure they couldn't run or hide, he set the meeting at the high-rise, my former home. On the bar's day off, the lawyer and I headed to the high-rise. Violet, visibly annoyed, greeted us as we entered the room. What's with this lawyer? Coming all the way to the bar? It's really a nuisance, you know. She sat on the sofa, legs and arms crossed, complaining. Apparently, the lawyer had gone to Cody's bar regarding this matter. Cody, either just woken up or tired, looked listless. He must be feeling extremely awkward. I understand exactly how Cody feels. Just to get started, the lawyer began, but Violet interrupted loudly. This is so annoying. Cody, just pay the alimony already. That amount in the letter, you can pay it off easily, right? Violet, clutching Cody's clothing, shook him as she pleaded. But Cody looked reluctant. Yeah, that makes sense. I understand why Cody isn't responding to Violet. Because he doesn't have the money. He can't admit that after trying to look good in front of Violet. Having too much pride can be a real disadvantage at times like these. Violet couldn't hide her irritation as Cody hesitated over the compensation. Hey, why are you being so stingy? Just pay it and it's over. You're the owner of this high-rise, right? The owner, right? Then you can afford this amount no problem. At Violet's words, Cody made an awkward, embarrassed face. At the same time, the lawyer burst out laughing. Violet, are you serious? This high-rise belongs entirely to Nicola. Hearing this, Violet's face showed a moment of confusion. What? Nicola? Why Nicola? Cody, you said you own this whole building, right? That's why you provided me with the top floor, right? You told me you were the owner. Did you lie? Violet lunged at Cody with great intensity, and he responded, slightly intimidated. No, it's not a lie. After all, what belongs to Nicola is mine too, right? I'm the husband. At Cody's words, Violet's face fell in despair. It was something prideful Cody would say to impress a woman. Yes, this high-rise is indeed mine. It's a precious piece of real estate, passed down from my great-grandfather's era, which I inherited from my family. My family may be landowners, but we don't just own land in our hometown. Even as a husband, it's not yours, you know. But it doesn't matter anyway. We're getting divorced, so it's irrelevant. Following my statement, Cody too began to look utterly despondent. So, shall we proceed? As per the certified mail I sent the other day, I'm claiming compensation from you both. And what about this room and the top floor? Planning to continue living here? If so, the rent for this room is $4K, and the top floor is $7K. So I'll be expecting the monthly payments. Thank you. Until now, the concept of rent hadn't arisen since Cody and I were married. But now that we are strangers, not family, it's only natural to ask for rent. Wait a minute! We didn't have to pay before, and now you suddenly ask for it? That's unfair. And $4,000 and $7,000? Is that how you treat friends? I was surprised to hear the word friends come from Violet. Quite ironic. Violet, after all, stole her friend's husband. Ignoring Violet's nonsensical words, I continued the conversation. Also, you'll need to pay the tenant fee for the building where Cody's bar is located. It's in a prime spot downtown, so it's not cheap like the high-rise rent. I'll assess it and bill you soon, so wait for it. Cody's face turned pale, and Violet's expression twisted even more. Violet might not have known, but the building where Cody's bar is located is also owned by Nicola. In fact, Nicola owns about 6 high-rises and buildings in this area alone. Until now, I hadn't demanded tenant fees from Cody because he was my husband. That's why he had the financial flexibility to run his business. But that's all over now. You both mocked me for playing games all day, but it's not just a game. It's a simulation system created by our company. It analyzes local human traffic, demographics, logistics, even geomancy, to calculate the best locations and layouts for properties. I kept saying it wasn't just a game, but you never believed me. I've been interested in real estate since high school, thanks to my family business. Over the years, my experience has earned me a bit of a reputation as a real estate mogul. Out of curiosity, what's your total asset value? Violet asked timidly, clinging to Cody's arm. I disclosed it without reservation. About 16 million, I guess. Cody and Violet nearly fell off the sofa at my words. Their shock was understandable. Until recently, they had been calling me a game-obsessed gardening volunteer. But even now, Cody and Violet, those devils, didn't crumble easily. Regaining his composure, Cody managed to laugh and said, So half of that is mine, right? If we're getting divorced, there's the distribution of property, right? That means I get half of your assets, right? Right, lawyer? The lawyer and I were a bit taken aback. Cody knew the term distribution of property, but he didn't understand the essence. Well, distribution of property applies to shared assets built together by the couple. Nicola's real estate and company, inherited from her family before marriage, aren't subject to distribution, explained the lawyer. Cody's shoulders slumped at these words. However, he still tried to wriggle out from a different angle. I was thinking, the certified mail mentioned a specific time frame for the infidelity. But what if, I said, Violet and I started our relationship only after I split from Nicola? That would mean the compensation claim doesn't apply, right? Because that wouldn't be infidelity. At his words, right? Violet exclaimed. Cody must have thought it through. However, we wouldn't send a certified mail without solid evidence. Show me the evidence then. If you don't have any, we're not paying any compensation. Seeing Cody's defiant look, I almost burst into laughter. But I composed myself and replied, You want evidence? I have plenty. But which would you prefer? Let's start with audio. Remember, Violet, when you loudly declared your relationship with Cody at my house? That conversation was recorded on my computer's voice recorder. Plus, there are several photos of you two entering the same room together. Even the security cameras captured you entering the top floor. But I anticipated they might still argue it wasn't conclusive evidence. Indeed, Cody looked ready to retort, smiling as if he had something up his sleeve. Oh, speaking of security cameras, I installed new ones in the building where Cody's bar is. There was a blind spot in the corridor, so I placed them there. Cody visibly reacted to my words, clearly agitated. Hey, you can't just install security cameras like that. Capturing blind spots is pointless. Take them down immediately. No, I'll do it myself. From laughter to anger, his face turned red with rage. Truly a man of many expressions. What's wrong with installing security cameras in my own building? Besides, Cody, you were the one who told me it was dangerous around the bar, and not to come. After hearing that, as the owner, it only makes sense to install security cameras in blind spots. Even Cody seemed to concede at that point. He probably had a clue without needing to see the footage. When I checked it beforehand, it clearly showed Cody and Violet intimately close in the building's blind spot. Moreover, let's get married. And let's keep it a secret from Nicola. We're all too vividly recorded. I was really glad I installed those high-performance security cameras. Cody and Violet, now subdued, slumped on the sofa. They didn't utter a single word of apology, which shocked me. Ugh, I should have just stayed in my hometown. This is so annoying and troublesome. Violet's remarks were incredibly self-centered. She came uninvited, disrupted someone's home, and then complained about it being bothersome. It saddened me. I once believed Violet was a friend, even felt grateful for her friendship. But why did it have to come to this? The sad part is probably that Violet never considered me a friend from the start. That's why she could take my husband without remorse. But I won't show any mercy. I've decided I will never forgive her. By the way, Violet, it seems you're still not officially divorced from your husband back home. Violet slumped on the sofa, looked up with wide eyes. Cody, surprised, turned to Violet. He probably didn't know. It's still under divorce mediation, right? I heard from classmates when I went back home. Your divorce is not settled yet. While it's often legally fine to be in a relationship during divorce mediation, it might not leave a good impression on the mediators. It's clear that infidelity on Violet's part is the reason for the divorce, but she kept denying it, and while her husband was gathering evidence, Violet fled. And here she is, claiming to marry Cody. Violet, is that true? We're getting married, right? You promised, didn't you? The divorce will be finalized soon, right? There's no compensation or anything on your end, right? Right, Violet? Violet said nothing, just glaring at me. Being confronted with an inconvenient truth, she must be furious. Her face, twisted with rage, turned bright red. But then, in a moment, Violet's expression changed as if she had a sudden realization. She muttered to herself, seemingly deep in thought. Finally, as if she had figured it out, she turned to Cody with an unnaturally bright voice and said, That's it. I won't divorce. I'll go back to my hometown. I'll apologize to my husband and ask for his forgiveness. Cody, you should reconcile with Nicola for now. That way we won't have to pay the compensation and Nicola's assets will become yours. Then everything will be settled. Once things have calmed down, we can be together again. Okay? Even the lawyer looked dismayed at this suggestion. Cody exclaimed, Great idea! And they started high-fiving each other. Alright, Nicola, let's make up. I'll apologize for everything. Please, forgive me. I always knew you were the only wife for me. I briskly brushed away Cody's hand, which was reaching out for a handshake. Don't joke with me. Do you think something once broken can be so easily fixed? Do you even realize what you've done? Sorry, but I don't have the slightest feelings for you anymore. My decision to divorce is absolute and unchangeable. Both Cody and Violet were stunned by my words. They couldn't respond. They couldn't even muster a retort. Reconcile? Their insult to me was beyond comprehension, fueling my anger to its peak. Violet, thinking you were a friend was my mistake. It's so disappointing. Goodbye, and don't ever show your face to me again. Leaving the rest to the lawyer, I left the room. I could hear Violet's wailing from the living room I left behind, but it meant nothing to me. What's left for me, who lost both a husband and a friend at the same time? I decided not to dwell on it now. All I wanted was to sleep in my warm bed. Soon, my divorce with Cody was finalized officially. Whether Violet managed to divorce her husband back home, I don't know. But as far as I know, Cody and Violet are living together now. Of course, they had to move out of the high rise. Apparently, they're renting a cheap apartment somewhere. This is all information from the lawyer. The bar you used to own has been renovated and reopened. It seems to be doing quite well. Cody, unable to pay the tenant fees for the bar, had to let it go. Thanks to its prime location, there were immediate takers, and he had to give up the bar with tears in his eyes. The new owner is diligently paying the tenant fees. By the way, a small amount of compensation is being transferred from Cody and Violet every month. It's not that I want their money. Receiving this compensation from them is like accepting their sincerity. It's a little bit of pride for me, who lost a husband and a friend. I established a new real estate company, dedicating myself to enriching people's lives. After all, what remained for me was my work. My knowledge and experience, built since my student days, now serve to provide better land and better homes. When I wake up in the morning and open the curtains, I can see the whole town I'm familiar with. The low-lying sun slowly rises, casting the shadows of buildings over the entire town. Right now, I can't think of any happiness greater than this view. It fills my heart. Let's do our best today. Another usual day has begun.